Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us and for the whole racing community. It's truly amazing. Mark, episode 174, man, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Hey, how's your NASCAR bracket these days?
Yeah. Crumple that thing up and throw it right in the trash, because
just like my basketball one. Yep, same thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up right away, because we talked about it. It was something to have a little fun with, and boy, I think I got 4 of the 16 right. It's total garbage. I think I was listening to NASCAR radio a lot this week, and I think the most I heard was someone got 6 right. So yeah, it was a disaster, to say the least. But people are saying they shouldn't start at Atlanta, it's a super speedway. To me, I don't know if people were taking it too seriously or anything like that. To me, it was just something extra fun to pay attention to. I wasn't going to give a lot of credence to it, a lot of time to it. I was going to make my picks and see where it shook out, kind of like NCAA. You probably do a little more research during NCAA, but you kind of knew what it was going to be. So for those people, yeah, I don't know. I mean, would it be nice maybe if it started somewhere other than Atlanta, if you were trying to take it seriously? Sure. But it is what it is. Kudos to NASCAR, I think, on just letting you have some fun and seeing about this thing. And unfortunately for Denny Hamlin, the number 1 seed, he's the one who kind of was the brainchild behind this last year on his podcast. He said some kind of bracket deal, and he got the worst end of it.
That was my number 1 pick, remember? So, yeah, I think the only one I got right is I got Chase Elliott, and then I got Chastain, taking him out this week. Well, Chastain's already out. And I think I got Larson on the other side of the bracket, and after that, forget it. So anyway, but hey, think of the strange matchups that are still continuing on. So, and there's definitely going to be some upsets along the way. So, yeah, we'll still pay attention to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who advances. You got kind of another wild card with Chicago, the streets of Chicago coming up this weekend, and it's just kind of fun to pay attention. I'm just going to see who can pull this thing out, and I'm still going to enjoy the racing, and that comes second, but something extra to pay attention to.
Yep, makes it fun. So through this long, grueling, long season of racing, it's half over, dude. We got 18 races coming up, 18 down. So
crazy.
It's crazy, man. We're in the middle of summer. Here's the 4th of July looking at us already.
Yeah, Independence Day coming up here in 2 days. Just crazy how it's been going on. But hey, we're going to have Travis Dassow coming on here to talk about his first Slinger Nationals next Tuesday, coming up as owner, him and Kelsey as owners of the Slinger Super Speedway. So that's exciting to see, get an update. I know we had him on in April. We'll have him on again now to talk about the big event, the Slinger Nationals coming up. We'll talk about some news. We'll recap ARCA, F1, the NASCAR weekend, and that's pretty much all we got here. So it's going to kind of revolve around the Slinger Nationals. Hey, we've been rained out. I know we don't like that word, but we've been rained out the last 2 weeks at WIR, week and a half, I guess, but it didn't count as a show. So hopefully we get a weekend tomorrow. It looks good. Fireworks coming out. It's to me, it's the biggest weekly event that we have. I feel like a lot of people will come out, and everyone has off Friday now, so it's going to be a super event out at Wisconsin International Raceway. We're going to have the Rob Vandermoss Sport Truck Memorial Race out there. Veterans will get in free on the 10th then, Mark? I think you checked into that, so they'll get in free on the 10th. So thank you to all the veterans out there for remaining patient and everything, for everything that you've done for us, as always. So the 10th, you'll get in for free there. The night is going to be presented by a couple of sponsors now, since we missed a few weeks. So technically it's Les Stump Ford and Mr. Brew's Tap House night, but we got to include L&W Supply, who was a sponsor supposed to be last week, and then Alhus Auto and Valley Gasket from the previous week as well. So big night out there. There also is the All-Star Challenge. It's the All-Star Series is no longer All-Star Challenge Series is no longer coming to WIR. There might be a few added, but it's a big night. It's $1,000 to win. Big night for the late models. So it's going to be a great night tomorrow night out at WIR. Racing starts at 6:30. So get out there early. It's going to be a packed night.
You got me already excited doing it. Sounds good to me, man. Let's get out there. Get out there early and stay late, man. Don't have to get up in the morning. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Yep, can't wait to see everyone after a week and a half off there. So let's talk a little news here, since there's only a few bits before we bring Travis on. The big news items here. Tab Boyd is now the spotter for Christopher Bell. Remember, we talked about him and Stenhouse parting ways, or him and Hayek Motorsports parting ways. So he's now on the top for Christopher Bell. TJ Pecure, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, agrees to buy Rick Ware Racing and plans to build a 3-car NASCAR team. TJ is one of the founders of Spire, so he has a lot of experience in the NASCAR realm, but interesting that Rick Ware Racing is getting out with everything that he dabbles in motorsports with.
Wow. So that's a kind of a big deal behind the scenes, man. And that's breaking news for me, because I did not catch that one this week.
RFK Racing's president, Steve Newmark, is headed to the University of North Carolina to be their assistant athletic director, and then he'll be the director of athletics. I think it's 2027 or 28 coming up there, but he won't be this upcoming year. It'll be a year or two down the road. So that was big news too, because Steve Newmark has been a big part of RFK Racing coming back and being a powerhouse. So I'm sure they're sad to lose Steve.
It's to play with Bill Belichick at North Carolina, huh? So
yeah,
I guess that was part of the whole mix there. So there's a combination.
Hubert Davis is the basketball coach. Of course, many of you know I'm a Wisconsin basketball and football fan, but for basketball, I do like Duke as well. So I pay attention to North Carolina a little bit there. But yeah, he's heading out there. So congratulations to him. That's cool, but we'll be sad. We'll miss him in motorsports here, and I think he's gonna kind of transition RFK Racing. Yet he's gonna still play a role in transitioning for them. So hopefully that works out okay for them. And then the last thing I got is Daniel Suarez is not going to return to Trackhouse Racing next year. We had heard rumors over the last few weeks that was probably the case. It became official now. They announced it. So,
what do you think is going to fill them shoes there, buddy? Like a 99% chance of a little bit of a zillage there.
Yeah, Connor Zilich, sign him up. See, he's going to be the guy. So, I mentioned this to you the other day. I think maybe there could be a flip-flop of seats. I think maybe Daniel Suarez could go to Junior Motorsports and Connor Zilich could go to Trackhouse. Maybe they flip a little there. So, unless something opens up at the Cup Series for Daniel, it's always possible.
Well, he's an interesting free agent, so he'll land in a good ride. You know, he's an Xfinity champion, so he's got the talent. There's no problem there.
Yep, and he just won the Xfinity race down at Mexico City, so he can get it done.
Yeah.
That's really all the news items that I have. Anything that you want to talk about before we bring Travis on?
I'm good with all that stuff, man. Let's go talk to Travis and see how he's doing.
Let's go out to the hotline.
Cool.
All right, Travis, thanks for coming back on here. Man, you got a couple of big events back-to-back here. Sunday, the prelude to the Nationals with the Midwest Truck Series coming in the local divisions, the Sportsman, the high school, the Bs, and the figure eights. And then practice for Slinger Nationals starts Monday, and then the big show on Tuesday. How are you doing, man? And how excited are you for your first Nationals as owner?
Yeah, we're really excited. You know, I've been coming here as a fan for how many years to the Nationals, and now we get to be and as a driver, and now I get to own one, so or be owner of it. So it's pretty cool.
You're still putting some long hours in, though, aren't you, man? Or getting ready for this?
Oh yeah, every night. Every night we're here at the racetrack. My wife's here full time now, so she's here all day, all night, and then the kids are always here too. So and then we always got a bunch of different people around and helping out. So it's Yeah, we're always here. We're always working on something.
You had a couple of big projects that you were working on over the off season that we're talking about. Any projects that you've been specifically working on over the last week or two or a couple weeks leading up to the Slinger Nationals?
Just been trying to do a lot of painting and, the simple things that doesn't get yourself in too much trouble if you don't get it done during the week, to lead up to when you're racing every week, you can't do too much, but we're continuously pressure washing, painting, hanging new signs, today we just got done rebuilding the tire wall from getting smacked a couple times at Slam Fest and getting some new banners on that and things like that, just trying to keep the place cleaned up as much as we can. And, before we get to the end of the season, then we got some more projects we want to work on in the fall. So then we'll tackle those.
You got 26 Midwest trucks coming in for Sunday. That's a great traveling series, and it's always fun to watch them go around that bull ring at Slinger. What are your thoughts on this Sunday with the Midwest Truck Series coming in?
Yeah, I always like the trucks coming in. It's always something different than what we're accustomed to on Sunday nights, and they put on a great show, and a lot of great talent in that division too. Between the all the great veterans, and then you got the young guys that come in. So it's a good mix of different people to put on a great show. We can't wait.
And then what goes on Monday, man? There's all kinds of action going on there on Monday.
We
Ain't
got
there?
stuff for 3 days in a row. We got that on Sunday, and then we got everybody loads in on Monday morning. We do some tack and some tire picking and things like that, and then we got practice from 11 to 4 all day, and then starting at 5 o'clock, we got our qualifying draw, which is going to be on Flow Racing is here live. It's going to be on the social network stuff too, but it's actually going to be broadcast live on Flow, which will be kind of neat, something to give fans even more, that aren't here yet come Tuesday. So we got that, and then actually the Racing Roundup show is going to be here live right after the qualifying draw is over too. So there's stuff going on all the way through probably 8 o'clock on Monday night. So it's going to be pretty neat. We're going to have the bar open. Do it all up there. So we're gonna have, we're gonna have food. There's food being catered in to, for available for, small, some dinners and things like that. So it's gonna be a nice little get together on Monday night to get everybody pumped up for Tuesday.
I got to get down there for that Monday night party because that would be a blast there. Coming down there, just hanging out and doing all that. And the Racing Roundup show, I mean, they're friends of ours. They do a great job. So cool that you got that event going on Monday too. But then Tuesday is the big one. You got 20 late models already registered. You got 36 super late models, many time champions, a lot of great talent coming in on Tuesday.
Yeah, both car counts are great. We have a great mixture of cars in that too. And like you said, there's champions, there's people all over the country coming in for there's different NASCAR drivers along the way and things like that have going to add to it all. And it's it's probably one of the strongest field of super lates that we've probably seen here at the Nationals. I mean, we're gonna have 36 cars that are gonna be going for top 16 in qualifying. There's gonna be a lot of cars that are gonna have to race their way in. So it's gonna be pretty interesting come Tuesday, and I'm glad I'm not having to drive it and try to make it in on top 16. I know that. I always thought that was I've been to the Slinger Nationals, I've been to the Derby, I've been all these other places, and I still say that this is the hardest place to make it on time is the Slinger Nationals. I mean, yeah, the Snowball Derby's hard. It's top 30 by time though, and 40 cars show up. Where this is 36 that are all really good, and you're going for only 16 spots. I mean, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I was just going to say you got to experience that as a driver, an owner. How much pressure is under these guys on Tuesday just to make it in? We often talk about you can kind of cut the tension with a butter knife just because it's so tense and you want to make it in on time and kind of relieve a little pressure before the race starts.
Yeah, you get to Monday and you get practicing a little bit, and it's pretty laid back, and think you got a good car, and then you get to Tuesday, and at least in the past, and probably going to happen again, is they paint the lines on the track on Monday night, and then you spray the track up on the top on Tuesday morning, and the track changes, and usually the weather's different from Monday to Tuesday, and then you're chasing it, and then you start getting nervous, getting into the first hour of practice, and you wonder if you did what you should have done on Monday to get the car better, and you're always constantly fighting back and forth to see where you got to be to go to qualify and get that top 16. So it's definitely hectic. It's definitely nerve wracking. It's like I said, I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore.
Hey man, something unique about the Nationals is they always have lap leader sponsorship laps. You going to have that? Is that available again this year?
Oh yeah, yep. That's definitely Craig Zeller and Dan Casey and them guys. They've been hard at it already. I know last year they got right around $25,000, and I know their goal is to be, topping that this year. So I mean, you got 20,000 to win, and then you got another 25 or so $1,000 up for grabs. I mean, you start on the pole, lead all 200, you might go home with $45,000. I mean, that's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, I remember one year, I think it was Jacob Nottestad led a bunch of the first half and took home a good chunk of change. Last year, that late model show was tremendous. You had that battle with Zach Prunty and Jeff Holtz at the end of the thing, a little bump and run. That late model show is one of the best things to watch on Tuesdays as well.
Yeah, especially this year, we've had some really good racing and limited late stuff. We've had, new tire this year has really opened up that second groove with the late model stuff. Almost, I mean, not quite as much as the super late stuff, but I mean, it's still really good. It's not bottom feeding. It's not a lot of the caution numbers have been way down compared to what we've had in the past. The late models, the racing's been a lot better. You see cars coming through the field, which you didn't see for a couple years, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to a good show getting put on by the late models before the super lates take stage.
Are you planning on doing anything different that will be noticeable than years past on Tuesday at all?
Yeah, not to the fans' eye. You're not going to see much different. Behind the scenes, there's going to be a lot. Pit, in the pit area, it's going to be a lot different. We're bringing in Ricky Brooks to do all the tech, along with our guys. So I mean, it's going to be a good combination between his guys and our guys. There's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more. Not strict, but it's going to be more fair. Everything's going to be to the book. We got a lot of different things that we're working on to make sure that everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's got a fair shake of it, and it's going to be an impound race, which that's kind of a thing that I've always thought for years and years racing all over the country that Wisconsin needed to do more of. There's not a lot of things, I think the impound thing after qualifying makes you a little bit more honest on things. You get the cars that are good all day in practice, and then guys do stuff and they can throw it on a lap, and then you see them struggle during the whole 200 laps. Well, usually an impound race, you're seeing more of the guys that are strong, are going to be strong in qualifying too. So I think that's the biggest noticeable change is that we're going to have impound racing. So it's going to be, you're not be able to change anything from qualifying to racing. So you're not going to have your qualifying packages. You're going to be qualifying on what you're racing. And I think that's the way it should be.
What's been the storylines that kind of you've been watching as an owner, or maybe some things that you didn't expect so far during this early part of the season, Travis?
Yeah, we've done some, just learning the ropes of it all. There's a lot of things that, as a driver, you think you know what the promoters are doing, and then there's some things that you're right about, and then there's some things you just never think about, and there's a lot of things that go into a race week and things that week in and week out that change, and got to change on the fly. You gotta just make adjustments and keep going. And being new owners, you do some stuff right, and you do some stuff, not so right. So it's just like you're trying to reduce the errors and try to just keep improving on things. So I think that's just the biggest thing of just trying to go week to week and just trying to make improvements and just trying to keep everybody happy, or as many as you can. You can never keep everybody happy, but the more the better, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, the racing has been spectacular down there. From your view as an owner, what are some things that you've been watching or have been excited about from the racing side of things that you've seen down there?
Yeah, all our divisions have been putting on good shows. I think with a combination of the new tire in the late model, new tire in the super late, and just cleaning up some procedural stuff in some of the other divisions and stuff, we've had some really good clean racing. And then we've really been striving to make sure that we've been spraying the track every week to try to give it an outside groove. And for the most part, I think we've been having really good side by side racing. So I think that helps cut down on the cautions as well. It doesn't make you feel like you gotta hit somebody to get somewhere. And I think that's been kind of our strength right now is that we got two good grooves of racing. So it's been making racing fun.
Brad J.J. Miller had won this past week. He's the defending winner of the Slinger Nationals, so I found it kind of fitting that he won the week leading into this year's Nationals here. Grant Griesbach was right on his tail, though. it just speaks to the good racing down there and two good groups of guys down there fighting for the win this past week.
Yeah, between them guys and then everybody else. I mean, every week it's somebody different up front. It seems like, which is awesome. That's what we gotta. That's what you want to have. You want to have parity, and I think we got a really good, good deal going on right now with them between Prunties and them and the Aples and the Bronze and there's endless guys that are able to go and win these races week in and week out, and that's what's making it pretty interesting right now.
Yeah, and you beat the weather last Sunday. That was impressive in itself right there.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. When it rained at 6:35, 5 minutes after we start going, and then watching it rain pretty hard there for a little while, and everybody's like, "Well, should we pull the plug? Should we pull the plug?" I'm like, "Nah, we'll get this thing in." And it's just everybody's there already. And why make it? Why try to reschedule it, or why try to make it work again? Might as well just try to tough it out a little bit. And it actually turned around pretty quick. We were back on the racetrack within 2 hours from it raining and drying and everything else. We were still done by 10:30 with having fireworks, so it wasn't too bad.
Are you going to have some fireworks coming up on Tuesday after the big show as well?
No fireworks on Tuesday. The fireworks will be on the track, not off the track on Tuesday.
People got to get up in the morning, right?
That's right. That's right.
You were just talking about some names, Aples, Prunties, Griesbach, Miller, just to name a few there. It gave me goosebumps just talking about the fields that you guys have had down there. And it, like you said, it spans all divisions. Just an incredible group of drivers that you have there each and every week.
Yeah, averaging 20 to 22 supers and 20 late models a week has been awesome. And then last year we were starting to creep down to that 13, 14 super late range, and that just doesn't put on a great race. But now you got getting back up to that 20 every week and getting close to having a semi feature every week definitely makes a difference. And it makes for better racing, and it makes everybody make sure they're on their A game to make sure that they're not caught in that semi feature. So I think that makes a big difference too in the way that the racing's going and how good the racing's been.
I see the sign, the banner behind you at Cobblestone Hotels really has put up a lot of money for the Slinger Nationals this year. We talked a little bit about it earlier. A good sponsor for you guys. We can't thank them enough for what they are doing for the big event on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, Jeremy and the guys up there at Cobblestone Hotels, they're without them we couldn't be paying 20 grand to win, and all them other things. It's they're a great asset to the racing world, and not just Slinger Speedway, but they put a lot of time and effort into going all over the state and going racing themselves. So it's and Grant's having a great season everywhere he's going too. So they're having a lot of fun racing. So it wasn't too hard to talk them into sponsoring again this year.
46th Annual Slinger Nationals this upcoming Tuesday here. A lot of history involved with the event. When you think of the Slinger Nationals, what immediately comes to your mind?
I remember sitting here as a kid, remember seeing the guys like, Bickle, Trickle, Matt Kenseth and all of them, all the guys in the early mid 90s that were, and just watching the show as a kid, remembering saying, man, one day it would be so cool to race in this. And then I was lucky enough to do that for, I don't know, it was 15 years or so. I think I probably ran the A main, probably 12 or 15 times would be my guess. And, I had one really good run, finished third one year. And, it's just the progression of it all, being involved in it from young on and watching what an awesome event it is and what it's been and what it still is just, it's pretty cool to actually be, when you were a kid and you were listening to, the guys in the stands or, just friends or whatever, or my dad's friends and stuff. And my dad talked about how cool it was, when they came as a kid and they come through and they're adults and seeing, how much racing's changed and all that stuff. And now I'm doing that. It's like you never would have thought that I would, be involved in racing this long and see what comes of it and how cool this place is and how cool racing in the Midwest is in general. It's pretty neat to have some of these high profile events that we do have in the Midwest, and the cool, the amount of drivers that respect it and come do it and really strive to try to be good at it to try to come and race all the locals up here is pretty neat.
You're still balancing everything that you got going on with Slinger Nationals, but you're also you're still an owner on the racing side of things too, with Joe Valento and all that. How's your season been going so far with that side of things?
Yeah, we've had fast race cars. We've been doing all the right things, I think, and we just had some bad luck so far this year. So the first 3 races in the tour haven't been the greatest. I think we only have one top 10 to show for it, and we've had a lot faster cars than that. So, that's a little, a little depressing, but we got good cars. So we're just going to keep moving forward. We got Hawkeye Downs here in a couple weeks and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, Mark and I are hoping to catch that in the middle of July, the Saturday after Slinger Nationals. So that should be a good showdown there. Hey man, with the seating this year and the tickets, kind of tell the fans how that's going to work and how they can get tickets early.
Yeah, we went to reserve seating, which it used to be a long time ago was reserve seating as well. I had too many people talking about the bad experiences of people moving blankets and having to, battle and do everything. And I'm like, why don't we just go back to reserve seating? We have it set up for Slam Fest that way. We have it that way. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are going to complain about it and things like that, but it's really easy. I mean, and you don't have to worry about getting your stuff down and, trying to save spots and everything like that. You just hop on the Ticket House app. It's really easy. I mean, you can do it in 2 minutes. You can pick out, 6, 8, 10, 20, 40 your favorite seats with all your friends, and and it's your spot. You don't have to worry about it. So I think it'll be people will get used to it this year, and moving forward it'll be a good deal for everybody. I think it's just the first year is going to be people learning it, and the interactive seating chart is really cool. It's really easy to use. So don't be afraid to try it out and get your tickets on there and save a little bit of money before you got to come to the gate. So it'll be, I think, reserve tickets are $5 cheaper than what they are at the gate. So you want to make sure you get them ahead of time. Then you get your seat picked, and then you're sitting where you want to be.
What else should people know about the 46th Annual Slinger Nationals coming up on Tuesday?
Oh, just you don't want to miss it. That's one of the things that it's one of the marquee events in the Midwest, if not the nation, and it's great. For a lot of people, it's right in their backyard. So weather looks good right now, and it should be in good shape, and it's going to be a heck of a show.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, we enjoy talking to you. It's good to get an update from Slinger Super Speedway. We appreciate you. I know you're super busy this week, so we appreciate you, man. Can't wait to see you down there on Tuesday. You heard of people, go get your tickets early and come on down for the big show. We'll see you Tuesday, man. We appreciate it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Well, we are excited for the 46th Annual Slinger Nationals. It was great to have Travis on. We appreciate him taking some time with us out of his busy schedule here, coming up with, 3 straight days of racing coming up. You got Sunday with the Midwest Truck Series, joining those weekly series that we talked about with him, Monday with the practice and everything going on, and then, of course, Tuesday with the big show. A lot of history with the 46th Annual Slinger Nationals coming up here. It's one of the crown jewels up here in the Midwest, in Wisconsin for sure. So we are looking forward to that one, man.
Hey, a couple of years ago, I went to the Monday, when they draw, and that was pretty intense there too. They have concessions open, and and the drivers are there, and it's smaller, but you're kind of amongst them all, and so that's actually is a good deal to go down and watch practice and go through that experience. I highly recommend that. I've done that already.
Yeah, I have often said Monday of the Nationals I want to take off for a couple reasons. First, I want to get some interviews in. I think that's a great time to get some interviews because it's pretty laid back, like Travis said. But two, it would just be a good time to hang out and talk with people and just have a good time down there. So they got a good event on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So if you're in the area, stop on by there and have some fun on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Mark, we talked about Brad J.J. Miller a little bit. He's the defending winner of the Nationals. I have really never seen Brad emotional before, and he was super proud, excited, emotional about winning his first Slinger Nationals. I did not realize until 2 or 3 years ago that he hadn't won a Slinger Nationals before, but that was really cool to see him excited and emotional about winning his first.
And then he comes back to that last Sunday. You think he's ready? He pulled that off last Sunday down there for 100 lappers. So yeah, he's relevant. That'd be a popular win if he could go back to back. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, and he won it in the tech line a little bit, so I'm sure he wants to finish on track first there. So that's his goal going forward. I talked to him a little bit today. We were hoping to have him on or even do a separate episode here. Just weren't able to make it happen. But We'll have him on to talk about his story because, man, he's everywhere. But talking about Slinger, the Midwest Trucks, they put on an awesome show. That's going to be a great show on Sunday. I know you're going to make it down there, Mark. We'll see what happens. Sundays are tough for me, like I've said before. But that's always a great show to follow the Midwest Truck Series, especially at Slinger. I'll never forget, I was asked to do pit reporting when they were there, and I stood in the middle of the track while they were going around, and that's a feeling that I'll never forget, being in the middle of the track while those trucks were ripping around Slinger.
Looking up at the race vehicles, weren't you?
Yeah.
You're looking up. That's crazy.
It was crazy. It's indescribable. If anyone gets the opportunity to ever do that, I would highly, highly recommend it. It's like a feeling you've never had before. And, I do it at WIR every Thursday. I have been doing that for many, many years. And that's special too. But Slinger just had a little bit of a different feeling. And maybe it's because I never did it before, but just incredible. But the Midwest Truck Series and the Slinger Bees and the Sportsmen and the High School Racing Association, and then the figure eights, of course. Thankfully, this past Sunday, there was a big accident in the X, and everyone was okay down there. So thankful for that. But they put on a hell of a show. So get down there for all 3 days. It's going to be excellent. Last thing about the Slinger Nationals, Zach Prunty did a bump and run on Jeff Holtz last year. You heard me mention that to Travis here. He wasn't the owner, but that was quite the event too before the big show came out later on. A lot of mixed emotions with that whole thing, but Zach Prunty took that home, so he is the defending winner of the Slinger Nationals for the late models.
Well, there'll be another memory because you remember every year they have it something different. It's always to remember. That's what makes it such a classic event, man. So looking forward to it. Weather looks awesome. I'm seeing 80 and partly cloudy all day. So hey, no problems there, man. So I'm ready. How about you?
Oh, I'm ready. He was giving me goosebumps when he mentioned the names that he did, and that's just only naming a few. Rich Bickle's coming back. You got Ty Majeski, Luke Fenhouse, Bubba Pollard's coming up here. I believe Stephen Nassy is attempting to get up here. I don't know that I saw him on the entry list, but I know he said he was trying to get up here. So we'll see if he's able to make it up. But that entry list is incredible with 36 cars on it, and like he said, 16 make it on time. So it's a tough challenge to make it into the show.
Yeah, too bad Cole Butcher. He's too busy in Nova Scotia. He'd be cool to be there too. But anyway, that's the best lineup, man. Take that lineup against the Snowball Derby in a heartbeat, man. Just as much talent that's coming to Slinger Tuesday.
Absolutely. Can't wait to get down there. Racing starts at 6:30, but make sure you get down there early. You heard Travis say it. It's going to be packed. Ticket Hoss, you can buy the tickets on if you're looking to get in the pits. I think pit pay is an option as well. Reach out to Slinger Super Speedway if you have any questions. But going to be an awesome show. Can't wait to see everyone down there on Tuesday and maybe Sunday. All right, man. Man, that was an awesome discussion there. Let's transition into some other racing things that had happened over the weekend here. Let's start with the ARCA Menard Series. Annunziata went he actually got a push into turn one from Lawless Allen. Him and Cruz ended up spinning. They would both go to the back there, but they would get back to the front later on and have a battle for the lead. But Cruz jumped the restart from Annunziata and got penalized, and Annunziata would go on and win at Lime Rock Speedway there. Only his fifth start in the ARCA Menard Series, and he's got that win now.
And you got his name down pat too, so everybody's doing well.
Yeah, you tested me with that last week, and I probably got a B- or a B, maybe a straight B, but I think I got an A this week.
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's going to be more relevant and be mentioned a lot more coming up here.
Yeah. Formula One also was racing. Sainz got stranded on the grid. He eventually would get going, but had other issues. I think it ended up being a brake failure, so he didn't get to start the race. Antonelli, the rookie, got into a corner too hot and hit Verstappen. They would both go out of the race, so that was big news. Albon, the other Williams, would go out in the race as well. So Williams had a pretty devastating day. Sonoda and Colapinto would make some contact. Colapinto would spin. Then Colapinto would make Piastri, who was second, go off into the grass for a pass there and would get a 5-second penalty. But it would be Lando Norris topping his teammate Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, Lawson, Alonso, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, and Ocon. Silverstone over in Great Britain is up next this weekend. It will be on Sunday at 8:55 in the morning Central Time.
Perfect for breakfast. Can't beat that, man.
Exactly. Let's go to the Truck Series then at Lime Rock. Heim would win Stage 1 and Stage 2.
And the race. And 99 laps out of 100. Easy peasy. How'd you like Lime Rock and its racetrack? I practiced it on iRacing just to see it get around it. That's a tough racetrack right there.
That is tough. I remember people talking about how all 4 tires might be off the ground at points, and we kind of saw that even in the Truck Series. That one corner where you kind of go uphill and then it's a sharp downhill. Man, that's a toughie, and then into a right-hander. That's a tough course there, but yeah, Heim would win again over Majeski, Ruggiero, Rhodes, Waters, Chandler Smith, Balicki, Cruz, Hemrick, and Ankrum.
Yeah, remember I told you with the pick set, I said if I couldn't have Heim, I'd take Ty Majeski. You know, he is amazing, also a good road racer, man. And
yes,
came up one short there, but man, nobody had nothing for Corey Heim this week.
He is an underrated road racer, and I think it's his short track prowess that helps him at that. I think going into corners, kind of knowing how to go corners and handle the vehicle, reminds me a lot of having to handle a short track super late model or vehicle. So I think that helps. And Corey Heim has a lot of short track experience as well. Heim would also have the fastest lap, 54.941 seconds, which equals 96.846 miles per hour. They have basically a month off now before they go to Lucas Oil Raceway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're off till the 25th of July. So they get the hot time of the summer to have off, man, and regroup.
Yeah. The Xfinity series then, Eckes and Perkins would make some contact in wreck. They collected Retzloff, Williams, Sawalich. Allgaier said that he started to stumble and may be concerned there. And then Austin Hill also had a fuel pickup issue and also would eventually have to come to pit road before the caution would come out for weather in the area.
You notice every time that I pick Austin Hill in our picks that he always fails, either blowing grease out the axle, and this one was fuel pickup, or what was it? It sounded like it was a throttle cable is the way I understood it. And well, then naturally here come the lightning, and that gave him a break right there to fix the vehicle in itself. But he was 6 laps down, but he's so relevant that they were still talking about, there's little ways of strategically how he could get back in this race, but he was pitting with the leaders every time there was a caution. It just didn't seem like he was interested in getting those 6 laps back. That was my opinion, but yeah, unfortunate there, man.
Yeah, some would pit after that delay there, including Creed, who was the leader, and some other leaders. But unfortunately, a big wreck would happen on the restart out of turn 2. Love and Sanchez made some contact, and they would wreck. So it would be Love, Sieg, Allgaier, Jeb Burton, Creed, who we just talked about being the leader, Eckes, Sammy Smith, Legg, Alfredo, Sterapoli were all involved, and a red flag would come out. When it got back underway, Taylor Gray would win it under caution. His first stage win. Unfortunately, he lost some time on pit road when a tire got away, but great first stage win for Taylor Gray.
Yeah, so yeah, we had an hour and 20-minute lightning delay. It never rained. That was the amazing part. But it was just it's within 8 miles of the racetrack, and then they set this clock and stayed with it, but it never got wet there. And then fire them up, and they never even made it down the back stretch, and they piled them all up. And unfortunately, went red. Yeah, so we definitely knew we were going to be a little bit late on this evening.
Yeah. McLaughlin would get up into the wall. No caution would happen there. And then Sanchez would spin after making some contact with Benedetto. Harrison Burton would also go around after Love went up the track, and it kind of got tight there. Honeyman would make some contact with Burton. Burton would barely make contact with Dye, but Dye would have to pit because the bumper panel came loose there at the rear of the car.
You ever see that where they just kind of rip it off and then the car's got an instant tail? Yeah, so we see that many times, and you got to tape it back on. It's got to be back on there.
Yep. Clements would go around, so Jones would win the stage under caution. McLaughlin would have kind of a rough day. He would spin later on. And what a save by Leland Honeyman. Oh, my goodness, man.
That was a darn awesome save right there by the 70 there, man.
Unbelievable. But it would be Nick Sanchez coming back from his spin earlier in the race to win over Quapple, Mayer, Zilich, Taylor Gray, Love, Almirola, Dye, Kyle Sieg, and Clements. Austin Hill would get the fastest lap of the race, though, 31.059 seconds, which equals 178.499 miles per hour.
Sanchez, for being in the trucks and being over on that side, just took a little while to get going here in the Xfinity. But you know what? That 48 team is gelling and it's getting better, gaining momentum. He's now in the playoffs, man. Tell you what, they could maybe run deep into the playoffs with that, how they're performing.
And I think Big Machine Records Racing and Nick Sanchez should thank Parker Kligerman for all the work he did over the last 2 or 3 years with that team, because he's kind of got it to where it is now. And I think about Parker kind of like Kurt Busch in a way. Like, he always left the team better than what it was when he started there. And that's certainly the case. But Nick Sanchez, certainly a great talent, and he takes home his first Xfinity Series win.
Yeah, it's quite popular win. So, yeah, we'll see where that lands him into the playoffs. See how far he goes.
They will go to the streets of Chicago next here for the Xfinity Series, where SVG is the defending winner, Mark. Let's talk about our picks for the Xfinity Series quickly. I get to go first, like usual. Although the Xfinity Series, I think I have more overall wins against you. I just don't have the wins of the race like you do. So it's tight with points. What do we have? You have 12 and I have 10 points, but I think I have 9 wins against you. So I think I end up having a few more wins, but you got more points there. But anyway, I am going to take the defending winner. I'm going to take SVG, who's in that 9 Junior Motorsports car.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty hard to beat, man. So I got to throw somebody that's going to at least give him a challenge, and we're going to throw some Zilich at you, 88, man, and we'll run with that one for the Saturday afternoon race.
Hey, if there's anyone that can hang with SVG, I think it is Connor Zilich. So I won't hold my breath. I am down in the dumps lately about picking.
Yeah, you're all right on the Xfinity side, but let's talk about the Cup side. Hey, congratulations, you got your second top 5. You almost got a victory. Keselowski was there, man, and I was definitely rooting and glad to see my buddy Chase pull that off. But anyway, well, let's talk about the Cup race, and then we'll give the pick. How's that?
Yeah. Cup Series, there was a caution for weather. The red flag would last 14 minutes. 10 of the drivers would stay out, including the top 7. When it got going, Bell would get loose and spin. He would collect Wallace, who then went hard into the wall. Larson and Austin Dillon would make some contact due to the Bell spinning in front of them. Larson would catch it, but Austin Dillon would spin and catch Blaney in the right rear, who went hard into the wall as well. Kyle Busch would also brush the wall. Allmendinger and Zilich would get damage. Brad would win the stage under caution, where 9 would stay out. And some that pitted here needed less fuel, so they ended up getting some track position on this stop as well. But a couple of hard hits there, especially for Blaney and Wallace.
Yeah, you mentioned that Brad won but after they reset, they actually gave it to Cindric. And Cindric won that stage on that one there. Hey, you failed to say the most important part there, that when they started the race, man, there was 8 Fords, huh? There was 8 Fords. The first 4 rows had Fords in them, man. And like I said before, I said it's going to be a Penske Ford Sunday, man. And man, they all got smeared later, but man, they definitely showed their speed at Atlanta.
Yeah, they did for sure. In stage 2, there was a stack up on the backstretch after the restart. Hamlin would get in a Nemechek, who got into the wall. Hamlin would spin, and the big one was on 23 were involved in this one. And at this point, 29 of the vehicles in total were involved in an accident already. So started to be slim pickings down there at Echo Park Speedway.
You know, turn 3 looked like an airport runway with all the rubber that was all over that racetrack, man. I just like, look at that, you know, as they were watching. Yeah, it looked like skid marks on an airport.
Yeah. Ty Dillon was quite aggressive. He ended up chopping Brad off, and Brad was up to his door. So Ty was being ultra aggressive there. Stenhouse would get tight and up into the wall with Jones. He would end up putting both of them in the wall. No caution would happen. But then a little while later, Herbst would get loose and spin and unfortunately collect Gilliland.
Yeah, and Herbst's car was damaged. Starting to come around this, you know, haven't mentioned nothing about him this year, and all of a sudden, maybe he's starting to get his act together and starting to get off the ground here.
Yeah. And then, wow, a close call for Buescher and Nemechek. Nemechek gave Buescher a push, and Buescher dang near lost it. We've seen that a few times at the super speedways. And then what a finish to stage 2. Initially, they said Reddick, or was it Elliott? And it was Reddick by 1/1000th of a second.
By a coat of paint, yes. That's about how close that one was.
SVG would spin when the race got back going. He struggled off of turn 4, and then Gibbs and Nemechek made some contact, which led to Nemechek getting into SVG. The top 3 would stay out here: Bowman, Brad, and Elliott. The rest would pit, so that was interesting strategy. Wallace would also get loose and spin later on. Only 6 stayed out there. That was kind of interesting. And once again, some of them that pit under the previous caution would help the 3 that stayed out on the last caution. So Reddick would get a penalty here for going through too many boxes, though.
Hate when that happens this late in the race, huh?
Yeah. And what I was trying to say before maybe didn't come through clear is some of them that pit under the previous caution pit again under this caution. So that helped the top 3 stay out. So the strategy to me was very interesting. I always like to focus on that a little bit and mention that in here. So Jones would get loose and spin right in front of Zilich and Busch. Amazingly, no one else got collected there.
Yeah, he come across the track and slid on down, man. So, yeah, fortunate for him there.
And then Starr, who was 18 laps down, had an issue and stopped at the end of pit road for another caution there. I was slightly frustrated with that. I was hoping the caution wouldn't come out due to that, but oh well.
Yeah,
another nice save by Larson would happen later on. He was at the back of the pack, though, so they barely noticed it. Elliott and Buescher would make some contact for second down the front stretch. Buescher did a crossover and Elliott on Elliott, and it was almost disastrous there.
Talk about close, man, but they kept them going, man. Close calls all the way around. There was some really fine racing going on at this time.
It was. Ty Dillon would get loose and into Haley, who went around. Once again, it was amazing that nobody else was collected. And then another kind of split strategy here. Stenhouse, Hosvar, and Reddick would pick up penalties there, but split strategy. And what a race. What a race. Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Bowman, Reddick, all swapping the lead in top positions there, but it would be Chase Elliott who made a last lap pass on Brad Keselowski, would win the race over Keselowski, Bowman, Reddick, Jones, Stenhouse, Zane Smith, Ty Dillon, Buescher, and Hocevar. You knew once Elliott cleared Brad, it was going to be challenging for Brad to get by because you knew Bowman was not going to push a Ford by his teammate.
No, but there was 3 laps to go, and Elliott was in 6th place, man. And, you know, it was interesting. He went this way, he went that way, all the moves that he made. And then once when he got the white flag and he cut that turn 1, man, he got up in front of Keselowski. I'm going, wow, game over there. Look at that. So popular win from The boy from Georgia wins at his home track right there in Atlanta.
Hometown kid. Yep. Took
Sound
home the win.
the siren, right? Got to
Siren.
get the siren going.
And what was it? Was it a 43 or 44 race win streak that Chase Elliott snapped there? So that was a big deal too.
Yeah, been a while.
It had been a long time. Yep. Nemechek had the fastest lap, 29.822 seconds, which equals 185.903 miles per hour. And they also are on the streets of Chicago this week, Mark, where Alex Bowman is the defending winner. And hey, I don't have too many cup points here, and I picked one up this week, like you mentioned earlier, so you get to pick first.
It's amazing, man. So, if you're going to do an SVG on me on a Saturday, I'm going to throw that right back at you on a Sunday, man. He's just the guy that seems to be the one you want right now on a road course. He's proven he's won a stage there. He's won a race there already. So, yep, SVG back at you on Sunday.
And I am going to take the defending winner, Alex Bowman. You just heard he finished third at Atlanta. I think he is getting rolling again this time of year. I hope he goes back to back.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that pick. He's always relevant there too.
Yeah. So the TV schedule kind of looks like this. We talked about F1 being in the morning on Sunday at 8:55 Central Time. The rest of these are Central Time as well. We'll start with IndyCar, who's over at Mid-Ohio this weekend. Friday on FS2, it'll be 2:05 Indy Next practice. A 3:35 IndyCar practice. It'll be in the 80s with 20% chance. Saturday on FS1, 7:35 in the morning, Indy Next practice. 9:35 in the morning, IndyCar practice, 12:30 Indy Next qualifying, and 1:35 IndyCar qualifying in the 80s with 10% chance. On Sunday on FS1 at 8:30 will be IndyCar warm-up. 9:36 the Indy Next race will go 35 laps. 12 o'clock on Fox will be the pre-race, and 12:22 also on Fox the IndyCar race will get going 90 laps at Mid-Ohio in the 80s with 30% chance. Mid-Ohio has put on some really good racing for IndyCar over the years, so this will be one that you want to pay attention to for sure.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so pick that up right away before the Cup race that starts at 1. So, but yeah, it's kind of amazing how they kind of battle each other for time. But there's still a way you can still watch both of them, so no problem.
Then NASCAR down in the streets of Chicago, Saturday, 9:30 on the CW app, Xfinity practice and qualifying. 12 o'clock on True TV, Cup practice and qualifying. 2:30 on the CW will be pre-race. Also on the CW at 3:30 will be the Xfinity Series race. Stages of 15, 15, and 20 in the 90s with 10% chance. The heat index is predicted to be in the hundreds, so that it'll be hot down there for those guys and girls on Saturday. Sunday then, 12 o'clock on TNT pre-race, 1 o'clock on TNT. The Cup race gets going, like you said, Mark. Stages of 20, 25, and 30 in the 80s with 50% chance. So Sunday could be interesting down in Chicago, but the heat index is going to be 96 again, so it's going to be a hot weekend down there in Chicago.
Hot town, summer in the city. Back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Yeah, there you go. Chicago, downtown. What's going to happen, man, if that gets discomforted out, man? I ain't saying the R word, but, they're standing there all of a sudden. It gets dark and all right, we'll have a makeup during the week up at Road America, and we'll be the first ones to go ka-ching, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that, but they do have wet weather tires, so I'm hoping if it does it, they can still race in it. Just hoping for the best here. NASCAR's got to have a plan, so we'll find out what happens. But it's
hot weather on that concrete. Hot.
Yeah.
That place gets really hot in the summertime in Chicago downtown. I've been there many times in the summer. Hell, I was in Great Lakes at Naval Station in the middle of the summer. I know how hot it gets around that area. So,
yeah.
Good luck.
It's going to be a warm one for sure. But all right, that's all I got, buddy. Any final thoughts from you?
Hey man, went down to the Dells last week, and had a super show down there.
Yeah.
Seeing Casey Johnson pull that race off, man. 24 minutes to run a 100-lap feature, man. They fired him right off, and then, when the race was over, I looked over and the sun was still up in the sky. So went down, did some interviews, and walked out of there, and it was still light out. That was amazing in itself. I was home back here by 11:30 that night. So what a show down there. The 602s put on a great show also down there. And then 4-cylinders are really 6-cylinders. I was taught by some people down there about that with those, what do they call them, bandits, or, yeah, it's the bandits that are there. So interesting show at the Dells, man.
Yeah, I was following along with your videos there. I was unable to make it, and unfortunate because I love Dells Raceway Park. But yeah, I was amazed that your videos were still light at the end of it. Like I thought it was a mistake. But yeah, good job by everyone involved to get that show in. And Ty Fredrickson led a bunch of that race, but Casey Johnson was able to get by him late and take home the win.
What a classic that was, man. So definitely was worth going to that show. So, hey, on a somber note, man, thinking about the Reichenberger family with, back in the day with Jerry Reichenberger's passed on here. And, I grew up with him. He was always the number 18 car. And, I've seen some pictures out there that showed his vehicles and brought back some good memories. So once again, the Reichenbergers, man, they've had such a roller coaster year. Mike has gotten to the Hall of Fame up at Norway, up there this year. But so prayers all out there for the Reichenberger family, man, thinking about them.
Man, they've had certainly their challenges over the last 5 years or so, and I hope they can take a break after this one, because another tough moment for them, and certainly thinking about the Reichenberger family.
Absolutely, man. So that's why I put that out there, that they're on my thoughts here. So prayers out to that whole entire family.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, hard to transition from that news, but send your thoughts and prayers to the Reichenberger family. They'll be ones to watch down at Slinger on Sunday for the races. Also, the Tundra Series is running at Dells Raceway Park this Saturday, weather permitting. I feel bad for the Tundra Super Late Models and the Pannier family, but once again, weather is in question, we'll say, for Saturday. So hopefully they're able to get that event down in at the Dells. So if you're able to get down to the Dells this weekend, go watch some Tundra Super Late Models racing. Then you might as well just head over to Slinger for the Midwest Truck Series and the local divisions there. Might as well stay at Slinger for Monday's practice and the fun after, and then might as well stay in Slinger for Tuesday too. So it looks like a great weekend of racing. Also, head out to Wisconsin International Raceway tomorrow night, like we talked about, for another fun event out there. Going to be a great show. Fireworks, always one of the best fireworks displays. So come on out and enjoy some fun tomorrow night. Again, racing starts at 6:30 tomorrow. Just appreciate everyone. Have some fun this weekend. Support your local racetracks. Have some fun. Have a great Independence Day this Friday and weekend. Stay safe. Have some fun. Salute to everyone that has kept us safe over the years and everything. We can't say that enough. So, Mark, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate Travis coming on. Appreciate Tim, Ben, and Carrie for all that they do for us and the racing community. And, hey, we'll talk to you soon. Can't wait to get down to some racetracks this weekend and early next week for the big one, the Slinger Nationals.
All right. I'll see you at the track tomorrow night, man, front and center.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.